Hello, sexual tyrannosauruses. This is Mike's Monsters, or Mikey, from the AvPGalaxy forums, if you're watching this from AvPGalaxy. I just got home from Comic-Con with RidgeTop 21. He's been here this whole entire weekend, and we had a pretty crazy and eventful San Diego Comic-Con with nothing but Prey coverage. As you can see, my little boy here has missed me, or maybe not. He's got a lot of separation anxiety. But anyways, I just want you guys to know that if you've already seen the AvPGalaxy video, this has a lot more footage of the actual event of the premiere that we got to see Prey at, a little bit of San Diego Comic-Con. We also got a very last minute invite to a party. Some of that's in there, but there's a full video of that coming later. It was a very Predator-filled weekend, and I hope you all enjoy this review. Like I said, if you've already seen it, this has just more discussion, a little bit more details from some of those questions you've all been asking, because I found some more after we made the previous video. So enjoy. This is a non-spoiler review. I will likely be doing another video where I can talk about the details, because it's really hard to talk about this movie without spoiling anything, and I'm one that I don't want you to have any of the surprises ruined, because this movie was awesome, but I will get to that in the rest of this review. Enjoy, thank you for watching, and I really hope you enjoy Prey on August 5th, because that was awesome.
We have a special video today because last night we went to the world premiere of Prey at San Diego Comic-Con. It was a bit of a crazy day for us because it was rough getting into Comic-Con, let me tell you.
Well, I live in Los Angeles, and we drove down that day, which is about a 2.5 hour drive, sometimes 3. And then also drove back home after the movie, which was ending at about 11:30, I think is when we left. So it was a long day yesterday.
Seeing Prey that night was just such a cool experience, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, as a fan, there's always skepticism when something seems like there's a lot of positive reception about it, right?
Or there's you think that people are being paid off, or they're shills, or it's just you're getting boozed up to have a positive opinion. And
right.
We're here to tell you that we had a positive reaction, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so plot twist. We actually got a very last minute invite to come down to the Prey after party, which was on Saturday night, when the movie screening was on Thursday night. So we actually decided to drive back to San Diego, which was about a 3.5, maybe more hour drive down. And we're a little boozed up, but I can guarantee you we formed our opinions before this night, and it was a lot of fun. We were joined at the party by Clara, who you may know from Studio Yutani, and Charles D. Lauzarica, who made all the amazing Alien documentaries on the Alien quadrilogy and anthology and much more. My buddy and Adam and I had just such a crazy weekend. It was very surreal being a Predator fan my entire life and being invited to an event like this. Like, I don't think I ever expected to be doing this in my entire life, and it's kind of like a dream come true. I'm sure Adam feels the same way. It was a very, very crazy weekend.
Yeah, the theater, the reception in the theater was very positive. And yes, that is natural with premieres. When I was at the premiere of The Predator in 2018 at TIFF, there was applause for that too. There were reactions online where people were like, oh, Shane Black killed it, this was awesome. And then once the wider reception happened, it was a bit more negative. But I will say, with this one, I think the reception will be very good once it reaches general audiences. I think I need to see it a few more times, but for me, initially after seeing it, I was like, this could be like right up there with the original, like at least the best installment since the original. Which surprised me. Like, I even thought this is probably going to be pretty good, right? But like, damn, like I thought they did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I agree. My only ask was to be as good or better than Predators, and I hold Predators as my third favorite Predator movie. Obviously the original is the best, but I have a special place in my heart for Predator 2. But Predators is my third favorite, and I would say this might be my favorite sequel, and it's crazy to say that, but again, I might have to see it a few more times, but I had a damn good time yesterday, and I went to bed smiling. I was driving home smiling. And it wasn't the experience, it was the actual movie that made me do that. It was a very good movie.
It's just a good movie.
If it wasn't even a Predator movie and the Predator was a different monster, and I know that sounds a little, it would still be a good movie, but making it a Predator movie makes it even better, because we get to see the monster, that Predator, do some crazy things.
Right. There's a lot here that hardcore fans are going to love, but it's also a movie that you could just show to anybody. Like, it's a very watchable movie, but
Accessible.
at the same time,
It's
accessible. But there's things about it that are going to be there for hardcore fans. The characters are great. The cinematography is great. The score was just fantastic. The score is very unique to this film. I know all the Predator scores in the first 4 movies had very similar kind of vibes. Yeah, they were all different, but they returned to the same themes. This one is more its own thing, and this movie is more its own thing.
I would say it was beautiful. Like, the music was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to listen to it more often. And I love the original Predator themes and music, but I don't catch myself listening to it when I'm on a walk or listening to it while I'm editing my photos or videos. But when I'm listening to soundtracks, this might be one that's played quite a bit.
Yeah.
It hit hard.
I'm looking forward to listening to it just on its own, and if there's a vinyl release, that would be awesome. So
with some green, maybe wax, like Predator blood.
Yeah, but yeah, we were in the first audience to see this movie. I know they've kind of been sending it to some people from what I've seen.
Yeah.
But seeing it in a theater, I know you were saying this. It's like, man, this deserved to be in a theater. So
I wish you could all watch it in a theater. It needs to be seen on the big screen, and I almost think Disney might be maybe questioning their decisions here after this one, because they're gonna wish people saw this in the theaters, because I think this would have been a big money maker. But that doesn't mean we can't just watch it a ton on Hulu, and we get to watch it over and over and over and over again. And I'm very excited too. I'm excited to watch it in the Comanche dub, because I think that's going to add a whole other element to the movie. And that was a very heavy presence in the movie, was the Comanche tribe. So it's going to be cool to see it like as they wanted to shoot it, because Dan Trachtenberg said at the screening, he said that the initial intention was possibly to shoot it in Comanche. So it would be really cool to watch it in that way. And get their initial...
Yeah, I think the English was for accessibility, but the movie very much makes it clear that even though they're speaking in English, it's meant to be Comanche.
And it actually sounded like they didn't just sound like people in the past talking. They actually had dialect and dictation that sounded like it was a Native American Comanche speaking. And actually one of the audience members said that, and he was, I believe, of the tribes, and he said it was fantastic to hear that, because you don't hear that in movies with the representation of Comanche or Native Americans or anything like that. So that was really cool.
Yeah, and just having this be a period piece, focusing on Native American culture, it was just so well done.
And we're not spoiling anything here. We're not going to say anything.
This is going to be
very
spoiler
light
free.
details.
We're going to keep it vague.
Because we want you to experience this on your own. This is one of those movies that we agreed that, having nothing spoiled for us beforehand, we've known a few things, but we were surprised on how much we did not know going into this, and it was a hell of a fun ride, and I hope you all don't ruin things for yourselves, because it's going to make some of you smile. Yeah.
Well, this is actually the first Predator movie I've seen in theaters that wasn't spoiled for me at all, because with Predators, the script for that leaked, and we were worried about it, but it ended up being better.
I saw the Berserker Predator, Mr. Black's face, but through production photos, because I think they came out the day before the movie was released or something, and I didn't want to see that. But avoid spoilers if you can. Just go in blind, because I know people don't mind spoiling things for themselves, but I'm of the belief that if you go in with the intention that the director or the creators gave to have surprises, you will have a much better experience not knowing what's coming, because it's fun. It's a fun ride, and it's vicious and brutal at times.
Yeah. There were some, I think, like fanboy moments for us where we were just like, yes!
I was like, oh my god!
It was like, oh man, and we walked out just super satisfied.
And also, Clara was with us.
Yeah, Clara, you may remember her from former Studio Yutani. I think she has someone else running that now, but she did a podcast with them for a while, and more recently she's been working on some Alien books, including Inferno's Fall, which is coming next month. So I'm very much looking forward to reading that. And she's very much more of an Alien fan, not really into Predator, but she loved it. For
Yeah.
her, this was, I think, her favorite Predator
Yeah,
movie.
I think I just recently saw her post a tweet or Instagram saying perfect Predator film. She was sitting behind us because the seating was a little packed once we got there, and she kept on leaning forward, was going, "Are you guys, this is a really good movie, right? Because I'm loving this."
Yeah, like halfway through the movie, I leaned to you. I was like, "This is really damn good. I hope this holds
I'm like,
up."
this is good, right? We're all
So-
this is really good.
Yeah.
I think we're all a little on edge and hesitant after the last run with The Predator. We all, I mean, there are fans of the movie, not to deny that, but we all know that that was a bumpy ride, and this doesn't feel anything like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like they're shoving things in it to make it a franchise or references. While there are some very, very well done, I will say.
Yeah.
I didn't expect them, and usually I cringe at homages and references myself, but fantastic.
The callbacks were done really well in this.
Tastefully, not like roll your eyes or, oh, they said the thing. It's not that. It's all earned and worth it when you get the homages and callbacks.
Yeah.
It just was but it was good. It was good.
It was good.
Yeah.
It overall felt very refreshing because for me, I haven't walked out of a theater satisfied as a fan since Predators in 2010.
Yeah.
And I think we were more glowy about this one than
I
Predators.
liked this more than Predator. I mean, I said it at the beginning, this might be my favorite Predator sequel, but I know I had a few moments in Predators where I was like,
See,
no.
Aaron and I,
Yeah.
we're big fans of Predators.
I still love the movie. I'm not saying it's a fantastic film, but there are some choices that I'm just like, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Mr. Black's face. I'll put it that way. I'm an honest fan, but those kind of things didn't necessarily ruin the movie for me. And I find if you get ruined by those experiences, you're focusing too much on something. But I would say they did a good damn job here. And I know I've said that a few times now. I'm probably beating a dead horse, but it's so refreshing to have a good Predator movie again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. How do you think these guys did?
Oh, right. So you're representing. I
Yeah.
have my shirt with me, but we didn't want to seem like we were
Twins?
Studio ADI shills either.
We're not shills.
But,
We don't do that paid shills stuff. We're none of that.
But I thought they did a fantastic job with the Predator, and Dane, the creature performer, just his movements were so cool. It was mostly practical. There were some scenes where it was very hard to tell if it was CG or practical.
I was never taken out of the movie through the effects.
Yeah, I considered myself good at telling if something's CG or practical, but there were some scenes where it was difficult. And there were some scenes where you could tell it was CG pretty easily, but it still looked really good. And it was
like I mentioned last
convincing.
night, there's the quick scene in the trailer where you see the wrist blades and the wolf. That wolf looked fantastic in my opinion. Like I was like, is that real? That guy's going. He looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean the CGI all over was great. I like, and like you said, you're pretty good at picking it, and it didn't take me out at all at any point. I personally liked the Predator a lot myself.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was just it was familiar but new and fresh. It wasn't anything like I think they changed it too much or anything like that.
It wasn't like, what the hell is that? That's not a Predator. But it also was the most different, not including, again, like the Super Predator or the Berserker Predator. In the traditional Predator sense, it felt like it had, like it is a traditional Predator, but it's also very much its own thing, new, fresh take on it.
You and I are two white dudes. If we go down to a tribe somewhere in the Amazon, they're going to look completely different. They're going to have different bone structure and facial structure. They're going to be able to move differently than you and I. I mean, we're not athletes over here. I've seen videos of tribes people just mounting trees and moving through them like no human I've ever seen before. So, like, I think that there can be a difference in structure and body structure of something and still be familiar to what we know. And I really think that they found a right balance with this Predator. And it didn't feel like you said, it wasn't like a what the heck is this? It was different, but a Predator.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it otherwise, but once you see it yourself, I think you'll be able to gauge it. And I do feel like some people will probably get up in arms about it, but I think if you're too much set on certain things going on, you're taking yourself out of the experience of the movie, and this movie doesn't need you to focus on what's going on in here.
But the biomask,
it
was so cool.
Yeah, that mask was
I always thought it looked cool. I was like, he's wearing a skull, that's cool. But the things it does in the movie,
and it's definitely a mask. It's not just
Yeah.
a skull kind of thing. We see.
yeah, no, it has technology. Like
we see it have technology, but I wouldn't say you see what's underneath that. You don't see the skull come off or anything like that. You see what's the face, but you don't see what the mask underneath would look like. So don't get your hopes up on that.
We want to talk about a figure.
I really, really want a freaking figure of this feral predator. I want to take photos of that thing right now. I want it on my shelf right now. I need it.
Yeah.
Give it to me, NECA. I don't know if you guys are stuck in something with the lawsuit that happened a while ago, but get on those predators again, or somebody, please.
Yeah.
'Cause
Hot Toys.
Hot Toys.
Hot Toys feral.
Yes,
I would buy that in a second.
Give us a Hot Toys feral. Yeah. That thing, he was gnarly. I can't tier him as a favorite predator yet. Like, I don't. My favorite predator is Greyback / the Elder, and I something about that guy has always just been fantastic. The original, designed by Stan in the first film, was great. But I mean, City Hunter is also just like, you know what? I think City Hunter is my favorite predator, but this, I want him on my shelf. Or I'm looking at my predator shelf right now, and I want feral sitting dead center, right in the middle. Because he might be up there with those favorites for me right now. Even like the cloaking effects and stuff were chef's kiss. Or thermal vision and stuff looked great. I won't say much, but it was great. There's good stuff. Very good stuff. Predator blood everywhere. Human blood everywhere. The practical and CGI of that looked great too. I couldn't tell the difference between... There was some good use of blood in this movie with... horror elements, I would say. I would say this is the first time we've had a scary predator in a very long time.
The predator was scary.
He was a nasty, vicious mother. No.
I thought 10 Cloverfield Lane, like I thought it was well directed. I thought it was well acted, but I had issues with it.
I had issues with the ending.
It wasn't my favorite film, but man, Dan Trachtenberg just killed this movie.
I'm glowing here, and it's a fresh movie, but I asked Dan face to face when I was shaking his hand, saying, "How does it feel to make the best Predator movie since the original?" Because I think that's how I feel right now, and it's almost like a high, and it's kind of hard to believe right now, and it's like a dream. It's kind of weird, and I'm not trying to make this isn't a perfect movie. There's no such thing except for aliens and Alien and Jaws and Predator. But
there were even a few moments where I was like, "This might be a little controversial. That might be controversial," but nothing major. Nothing that will take away from the enjoyment of the film.
I don't think it's gonna be controversial in the woke sense much either. I'd say Amber Midthunder is a goddamn badass. She is a force to be reckoned with.
She did great.
She goes through the rails to get to the point where she gets, and it's earned where she gets. That final fight, we won't say anything of it besides that it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's not what anybody's expecting. It's answering questions we've all been asking ourselves, like, how is this supposed to work?
Yeah.
And it's done very intelligently, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, I know I've seen around, how is she supposed to take on
a small
predator,
little
right?
girl.
And the movie acknowledges this.
She gets her butt handed to her in this movie.
By the end of the film, I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it. So, I mean, I know we're being super positive. You all will have to watch the movie and decide for yourselves, And that's what I like to do with movies, and I know you do too.
Yeah. And I'm a very, very picky person.
Oh yeah, we are nitpicky fanboys, and we both really like this movie.
Yeah,
so.
I liked this a lot, and I think it deserved that standing ovation. I was happy to be standing and clapping afterwards, and I'm not one to do that after a movie most times. And I had just a fantastic time because it was just a fantastic movie, and I think you guys and gals and everyone else out there are going to enjoy it, and we're all in for a treat. I just wish you could have seen it in the theaters with us, because that was where it should be. Predator, and I do believe Alien is meant for the biggest screen, but I also think this movie is going to do some wonders for the franchise. We needed this. This was a good shot in the kind of heart right now.
If you have a home theater, if your friend has a home theater, watch it in a home theater. I know the director, Dan, was saying they were looking at solutions like a Fathom Events type thing where they could have a limited fan screenings in theaters. So if you get the opportunity for that, I definitely recommend it because the theatrical experience with the movie was great. It didn't feel like low budget compared to the other ones. Even though it was, I feel like they did have a low budget, but they made the most of it, and it didn't feel cheap or anything. Like, it felt like an awesome.
Well, they made it like
movie.
it was a normal movie. I know that Dan in one of his interviews said that this was meant to be, initially was made to be a theater movie, and then I think the merger and everything changed some trajectory, and it became a streaming film.
It totally could work as one. It doesn't feel like it was made for streaming.
No,
it feels like it was made for the theaters, which is why we're like,
And anyone who's saying this is a streaming movie and the budget's there, you're not paying attention to the rest of the streaming movies, because like The Irishman was a streaming movie, and I believe that had some nominations for like Oscars and stuff like that.
I think there was an Apple TV one.
High quality streaming movies nowadays that are just the same as theater experiences. It's just that the world is changing and not as many people are going to the movies, so they're shifting things up, and I think Disney's taking an experiment with this run here, and maybe they made the wrong choice, but I don't know. So I'm excited to watch it again in a few weeks, and as many times as I want, because it's going to be right there on my TV, and that's also exciting. So maybe it wasn't the wrong choice, but maybe you release a hybrid, do theater and streaming, so you can still kind of give people the choice of how it's presented. Yeah. Though I do wish, with it being streaming, it makes me nervous that we won't get a DVD or Blu-ray 4K HD.
Yeah, I really hope we do. So yeah, the film just worked as a theatrical experience as all the other Predator movies did. So I hope fans eventually get the opportunity to see it in a theater. If not, watch it on the biggest screen possible.
Loud.
Yeah.
The sound design was fantastic. The way they used the clicking and all the Predator sound effects with the trees and the rustling leaves and stuff, it felt very much like the original, where you're like, is that in the trees? I can't see it, or am I hearing that, or is that a bird? Like, they did a lot of that, and watching Comanche people who are in tune to that stuff catch it and kind of go, oh, it was very reminiscent of Billy, and that was good. It's good stuff.
And Mike, I know on our forum you saw some questions people were asking when we posted our reactions in the fan review thread. So we wanted to quickly touch on some of those questions that folks were asking. The first one, I guess we touched on it briefly. Dane playing the Predator. He did a great job.
He's good. I think he brings a lot of new things, but familiar to the Predator. It's not going to be the same mimicked Kevin Peter Hall movements that we love. We love Kevin and his movements, but I've kind of felt that a lot of people try to mimic the exact same things that he did. I think he studied Kevin and kind of brought a, I guess, feral kind of energy to the beast, because that's what they're calling him, and he was freaky and vicious. And there were points where I was just like, oh my gosh, he gave me chills sometimes, and I like that.
It felt like a very individualized Predator. And it felt very alien. Like, I know some of Fugitive's mannerisms in The Predator. I didn't have any issue with that, but some people thought he was a little overly humanistic.
I don't like that.
What?
The point the gun down thing when he's in Predator.
Right?
I'm not a fan of that, or the thumbs up.
No, I dug that. I thought it was funny. It was charming. You also
like Requiem, so.
Oh, come on. Okay, well, I'm not wrong about this movie.
No. So he can have good opinions too sometimes, guys. He's not. Just, we love him.
I get so much shit for that.
Like, that's what I'm saying. We love you.
I can like a bad movie. I know you all can. You all have movies that you like that are not great.
I mean, I've got Godzilla all over the place, so I know how a good movie can be and a bad movie can be, so I can't judge. I'm just giving
that's a whole nother bag.
That's a whole other bag, so I mean...
But yeah, so Dane as the Predator, again, phenomenal job. I can't wait to watch it again to get a better look at his performance and to see some of the behind-the-scenes materials of him in the suit.
Yeah.
At the Q&A session afterwards, he talked about... something kind of crazy that happened when he was in a suit.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun story. That's going to be one to save for the video. Yeah. So you guys should watch the Q&A to get that, because that was a fun little story.
Another question, does feral body language movements look good? I mean, that goes with what we just said. Yeah,
he was fast, ferocious. We've never seen predators move like this before. It didn't feel like a guy in a suit.
No.
Not at all. And
I
think,
never got that sense once.
No, not at all. It was a beast, a monster. They refer to him as a monster in the movie quite a bit, and it felt very monstrous, and I loved every bit of it. Another one is, how were the weapons, or were there anything new? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we'll say.
Yeah. There's new weapons.
And
there's also classic weapons that make a return.
We won't say what.
We won't say what, but the classic weapons return in really cool new ways.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
That was such a good... I'm not even going to say what it is. Was the face full CG on the feral predator?
That's like an I don't know thing.
Yeah.
Because, again, the scene is quite dark. And it was hard to tell with that. I'm pretty sure they had a full animatronic face. I don't know if they used it in every shot. Some of them might have been CG. I need to see the movie again. It was a long day, but it was impressive.
I'll tell you, if it was a long day and I didn't like the movie, you would know about it. I am a grumpy man when I've had long days.
Yeah.
And if I don't like something, the world knows. And if I do, the world knows. And I'm telling you guys, it's good. And like you said, I could not tell at times if it was CGI or obviously a few points it's going to be CGI with certain movements and certain things that happen, but I couldn't tell. It didn't take me out to go, oh, that's CG mouth or something like that. Like kind of like how the Predator did, or at times even in Predators they had the CG head at times with like Berserker and stuff, and it didn't feel like, oh, that's a CG head, or in like Star Wars where they had the clone and the head was floating.
Right.
None of that stuff. It was so well done. And I think even in interviews Dan talked about how CGI was maybe implemented into other parts of the body. I didn't catch any of that. I think like I said, the suit was so good that I didn't feel like it was a suit. If they implemented CGI into things to make it move, it made it feel more alive, and I just bought it. It was so good. All up here too. It's a little different, but it's
a little different. I mean, it doesn't feel like a Super Predator. It doesn't feel like something like the Upgrade, like crazy different. But this definitely seems like a different subspecies.
The hemisphere
of Predator.
comment that Dan made, where it's like he came from a different part of the planet, makes a lot of sense when people like Shaquille O'Neal and Ed Sheeran exist, and smaller people and taller people. Like, shapes of bodies and structures are different, and this just felt like a predator that was part of the planet but at a different place. And maybe he was from a little bit of a colder place, and that's why he looked so much meaner, because he looked really mean, and I loved it.
Someone was asking both red and green blood if it was CGI. I think there was both CGI, practical.
Yeah, there was plenty of points where you could tell someone splashed with something, or they had practical blood on them, or the CGI green blood. If it was CGI, I couldn't tell. That green blood looked great. Even the red blood. And if it was CGI, I couldn't tell. Like, it just wasn't like an AVP unrated cut kind of thing, where the CGI blood was added in, or even the Predator had a little bit of over the top, too much CGI blood at times, and I don't think this hit that level. It was all believable blood. It didn't feel like too much blood spray or anything like that. It just felt like it was an actual practical bloodbath at times. Bloodbath is a very good way to describe this movie, I will say that.
It is very bloody. It's very rated R.
Very rated R, yeah.
Do Tabe and the other tribe members have prominent scenes? Yes. They're the main characters.
It is Amber's show, and she's in it most of the movie, but there are very important and powerful scenes with other characters in the movie that I will say I was talking about this last night. I love the Predator characters, most of them. I mean, I've never really felt emotion and like sadness when they've died. I mean, maybe that's because I've seen these movies so many times now after watching Predator for the last 20 years of my life. But I felt at times when people were dying in this movie, because they built them up to be such cool people. Well, and I won't say... A few people.
Others we delighted watching.
Others we were like, yes! Oh, that was nice. Oh, there goes... yeah, that's good stuff. So there are... It's not just Amber all the time, but there is a lot of other characters that get very much well-deserved scenes, I think.
For his first role, Dakota Beavers absolutely killed it. He kind of stole the show for me, and I can't wait for everybody to see what he brings to the Predator franchise. I think he's going to be a fan favorite.
How was the final fight? It was good.
Good.
Don't want to really say anything about it.
I won't say any details.
The less you know, the better on that. The music by Sarah
just so
I'm not
good.
going to try and mess up her last name, but I had heard her work before. One of the things I noticed is her music was always very thematically appropriate, especially in Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey, which are focused on Egyptian and Viking culture. And so her music very much brought in those themes. And so I was curious, like, how is this going to incorporate Native American sounding themes?
There was
And
a lot of
it
like,
does, yeah. But it's also
drum
very
and-
intense, very bold. It was a great score.
Yeah.
Very, again, different from Silvestri's sound. Probably the most unique out of any of the Predator film scores. But I really dug it.
Really quickly, I want to say something about the dog. I'm a big puppy fan. I'm a big doggo fan. And this dog was not like overly cute or anything like that. It was a badass too. And it was used so well at times. Maybe even in combat. I won't say how or why, but there is some really, really cool imagery with this dog. And I think people are going to fall in love with him too.
And I'm a camera guy, you're a camera guy. I've been taking photos my whole life, pretty much at this point, half my life, and this movie was beautiful.
Yeah, very
Probably-
well shot.
I would say, I mean, Predator 1 is a beautiful, beautiful film, but this might be another one of those, like, it might have some shots that are just ugh.
Cinematography was by Jeff Cutter.
Jeff Cutter,
I
yeah.
think he worked with Dan on 10
Cloverfield.
Cloverfield Lane, yeah. So he loves his shallow depth of field like I know you do.
I'm a very shallow depth of field person.
But yeah, very beautifully shot. Really great cinematography.
Yeah, I think this movie was really cool because it felt like I was watching a movie set where I grew up. I was very much in the woods and in the mountains, not so much like in the mountains where I grew up in Washington, but I lived in the shadow of Mount Rainier, and nothing but hills and trees and forests and rivers at times. And I spent a lot of my youth, and I'm a photographer, so I also go out into the wilderness and shoot things, and I felt like I was just watching scenes happen in areas that I've been in, and it just, something about that was really special. I don't know, it just maybe made the movie connect with me a little bit more. I don't know if that helps, but it just was a cool setting. And while AvPR was set in like a Colorado town, this was just nature, because obviously this is set in the past. It was really cool to see this Predator story happening in something that felt so familiar to me. It just felt like a story made for me, and maybe that makes it a little bit more special for me, but I thought that was great.
And I kind of got that sense of familiarity too, because I mean, for you it was Mount Rainier, for me it was Mount Timpanogos. It's, you know, we have plenty of mountains and forests in Utah as well, and I got that connection there. I've wanted to see a Predator in like that sort of foresty environment, and we got a little bit of that in The Predator and even AvPR with Colorado, but this is like this movie is just in that setting, and it makes the most of that setting.
Yeah,
and
it's beautifully shot too. Yeah. Just all of it was, the lighting was just fantastic, and they said they went through the ringer to shoot some of it, and in the cast and crew interview at the end, I believe it, because growing up in an area like that and having done fashion photography out in the wilderness of Washington, I could drive out to a mountain and it's sunny all day, and then the moment I get to the mountain it's pouring rain or snowing, and I've got this model and she's gonna be wearing a dress. So I can only imagine that Amber Midthunder and all of them were just going through hell at times. Amber kept on saying she felt like the shoot was never gonna end.
And I know that's what Alec was saying too. He was like, we've never had like an extended shoot in the middle of nowhere, just in nature.
Yeah.
And so I'm very interested in seeing behind the scenes of that and how the logistics of that worked, because what they were able to do, and it felt like the middle of nowhere.
You weren't going to look hard and see like a tiny town in the background or anything like that, and it was very much like way out. Action shot really well too. I couldn't I wouldn't say there was any parts that was hard to read or was just like shaky cam.
No shaky cam.
No, like, oh, he's laying on the ground and they're just shaking the camera to make it look intense. None of that. It was the action was visceral and intense and shot very well. And not just Predator action. There's a lot of other action in this movie, and it's very good. Just a good movie.
It's just a good movie. Like, and that's one of the things I'm excited for. As a fan, I feel like I can show this movie to non-fans very easily and still be super satisfied as a fan, but have an accessible movie that they can also really enjoy. There's a question about the runtime. I think it's about an hour and a half. I'm not sure.
Maybe just a little longer with credits.
It felt longer, honestly. Like, it felt kind of like a slow build.
Yeah, not longer in a a way. It was like,
no.
It was like, this is exciting, and
it didn't feel slow, but it didn't feel rushed either. Like Jurassic Park 3, which has kind of grown on me over time. That movie has always felt kind of rushed to me with the pacing. This did not.
This is just a good solid story that's contained and it works. It was perfectly told, I think. I mean, I wouldn't change anything. I would say I couldn't. And again, it's just because it's so fresh, but I really liked front to back of the whole movie. I couldn't say cut something or add something right now. I mean, there's probably always add more Predator stuff, but everything felt earned. And that goes back to the callbacks and homages and stuff, and anything that was familiar. It didn't feel, like I said earlier, forced or ham-fisted or anything like that. It all felt earned and needed in the moment if it was something said or seen or something like that.
I know, yeah, that's something Aaron and I always get nervous about is callbacks.
No, get to the chopper. None of that. None of that.
There's not a get to the chopper in the movie, but there are some other callbacks that are really well done, and
they got the theater.
They feel appropriately placed. Yeah. It's not just like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if they said this? It's like,
or he said the thing.
It felt natural.
Yeah.
And that's why it worked so well.
Yeah.
How was the experience? It was good. For me, again, I did the Predator premiere in Canada at TIFF in 2018, and this was very much a contrast to that. That was at a film festival, and the movie had a very negative piece of news dropped on it that particular day that kind of affected the vibe as well. I think the theater still enjoyed it because it was a first screening. It was a good time. But I could just tell the energy after the film was much higher with this than with the Predator. Yeah. And for me personally, because like with the Predator, I was walking back to my hotel and I had the same experience with Prometheus and Covenant, where I start going through it in my head. I don't know if I liked it at first. I'm like, wait, this didn't make sense. That didn't make sense. That was kind of dumb. Oh, I don't like this movie. But with this movie, I was kind of waiting for that to come just because it had happened.
Waiting for a
with
twist
the last
or something
3 movies,
to happen.
I was like, what did I not like about this movie?
I drove home for 2.5 hours last night and I couldn't think of anything. I was just trying to find something, and I couldn't find anything. And I think I loved this movie, and I know that's early, but as a fan of the franchise for my entire life, basically, I think I can confidently say that I love this movie, and it's I might be speaking for not everybody, but I feel like I can say that this is a movie that fans have been waiting for a very long time. Yeah. It's a good story that like comics have alluded to, or side stories, or any of the expanded universe, and it's something we've all wanted to see for a very long time, like a period piece. And I almost think I want to see a different time period now. Just show us something new, because this was perfect as it is. A good little capsule of this story. Let's move on to something else and keep this kind of energy going, though. I mean, I had a fantastic experience overall, and I'm not one to be like starry-eyed, and that's the experience makes the movie better. I've been to plenty of screenings myself, and I have been to plenty of screenings where the audience liked it and I was like, that was not good. This was one of those that the standing ovation felt earned.
This is one of those movies like Mad Max Fury Road or Top Gun Maverick, where you just walk out of it and you're like, damn, that was a good movie. I didn't think they made them like that
damn
anymore.
Good movie.
So, and it's weird because you're like, movies just suck so hard these days, and it's like I'm not used to like feeling this good about a movie.
The last movie I saw in the theater was Jurassic World Dominion, and my favorite movie of all time was for a while Jurassic Park until Alien took that, and Dominion.
I had fun with it.
You know you did, but you again.
I know it's bad,
like Requiem,
but
remember.
I had fun with it.
I'm sorry to rag on the Requiem thing. Wolf is great. Love Wolf. Not to just say I hate Requiem.
Again, we just want to thank 20th Century Studios for the invite, because we just had such a good time there. They had this cool little stand-up with like trees, and they would blast us with fog, and then it was the poster behind us. We were kind of hoping they would have a full stand-up Predator, but I know they've wanted to keep the Predator for this more mysterious, and it was better because they've been doing that. Because again, contrast to the last movie, they showed the face, they showed a lot of the Predators right in the trailers. But
and to say about the face, they did recently in one of the TV spots, I think they show briefly a little bit of the face. I had that spoiled for me before I saw the movie, and I will say that you don't see the face when you see that. That's not the face. You don't see much there. There's more to it.
That's more of a darker side shot.
Yeah, it was a silhouette.
But the reveals in this movie, even not just the face, but the Predator reveals, once you start seeing it more, it was like, holy shit. Like,
there was some really just cool stuff that I would have never imagined to see, and especially with like the cloaking and stuff. I won't get into details, but there was just some use of cloaking and things that happen and stuff that I was like, that was really well done.
Yeah.
And some of the victims of the Predator were different and new, and I was
See, this is like weird for me because like the last movies I liked were AVP and AvPR, right? And I come back to AvPGalaxy and everyone hates those, or a lot of people do. And
I mean, we had a site shut down because
and
of
I'm like,
AVP
no,
ones.
come on, guys, it's really good. And so this one, I'm like, am I gonna not have to defend liking this movie? Like, so
I think there will be some nitpickers that are
oh
finding
yeah,
something.
it'll get its criticisms, but I
But-
think the main things that people were worried about, they shouldn't be worried about.
They shouldn't be worried
Yeah.
about. Yeah, no. Confidently can say that this is a damn good Predator movie.
Yeah.
It's one we've been waiting for, and I loved it. Can't wait for more.
Well, I hope we haven't made you roll your eyes too much with all our gushing over this movie, but definitely, again, encourage you to check it out yourself. Make your own opinion. But as a fan, you know, I'm feeling very positive about it, and I'm very excited to see it again.
Yep. It's just kind of surreal that we have this movie right now. I've always loved the Predator movies, and I always get super excited for them. I didn't for the Predator. I that was the first one where I was like reserved, and I didn't get hyped or like read every bit of news. Like I think the whole movie was spoiled for me because the plot leaked, and then there's just the whole mess of that movie. I didn't have excitement going into it. I remember being extremely hyped for Predators and coming out happy.
Yeah, I was happy. I mean, I was very concerned about that movie myself because I had read the script. So
And
when I walked
hadn't.
out, I was
I
like,
hadn't.
"Phew, that was pretty cool."
Yeah.
Like, I really liked
It was
that,
good.
and
It's a
it
good
only
movie. It's a
grew for me
well-made movie.
only time. But like, I didn't see Predator 1 or Predator 2 in theaters, so this is really the first time I've seen a Predator movie in theaters where I walked out like, "Holy shit, that was good."
I will say that seeing the feral Predator at times gave me callbacks to the first time I saw City Hunter in Predator 2, because that was the first Predator movie I saw. And it was turned on at the King Willie scene. Then it stayed on, and I'd never seen a Predator movie before. And the feelings I got when I saw it's just weird saying this, City Hunter take his mask off and he's roaring at Harrigan and he's got those cool just like mandible shots. There were points in this movie where I felt that again.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, it's good to see a Predator just get me going again. Like I'm happy. I'm very happy. You see, I've been smiling this whole video. It's crazy. I don't think I ever expected us to get back here, I think.
Yeah, no,
After what we've been through, it's been a while.
Yeah,
And
we've
we
been
had
through some bad ones, but
Yeah.
no, like I'm super satisfied with the film. Again, we'll have more extensive review on our channel.
on AvPGalaxy.
But,
Yeah. And I might do another video myself where once I've seen the video or the movie again, I might give a more in-depth, maybe a spoiler talk or really get into the details. But I right now want you all to experience it on your own. It's just nothing ruined for you. Like, don't go diving into the spoilers if you can. I know some of you will, but please try not to, because you'll be rewarded in the end. Try not to spoil anything for yourself, and that makes it so much more, as a fan, rewarding when you get to hear and see some of the things that happen in this movie.
Yeah,
It's good. It's
Yeah.
good stuff. And there's some deep cuts for the fans in this one, and I think it's gonna be. I think this is gonna be one that everybody is gonna be pretty happy with. I hope.
I hope so too. We'll see when it gets the wide release.
So thank you for watching my video now. I hope you checked out theirs if you hadn't. If not, check out avpgalaxy.net. These guys have been around forever. I mean, we've been around for like 20-something years now.
2002.
2002.
20
yeah,
years,
there was
yeah.
there was a fall for a minute after AVP, but we came back to life. This movie will not do
I
that.
mean, a fall. There was never a fall.
We died for a minute because AVP killed the website.
That was just a little minute.
For a minute. There's going to be a lot of great content on their site, interviews with cast and crew, stories that they have told that we can't wait to share. And there's just a lot of good content coming to their stuff, but also I've got more stuff coming to myself. So keep an eye on both of us, AvPGalaxy, avpgalaxy.net. I mean, that site's been in my life for
So long, I can't remember anything
yeah,
else.
yeah. Since I was a teenager, since I was like barely in junior high, I think I was visiting AvPGalaxy after playing AvP2, and so it's cool to be a part of the experience with you guys. I was happy to be involved. It's like a long time coming, and like I said, starting the podcast with Aaron all the way in 2011, and he's still running it strong because he's such a good guy. That you're doing good, Aaron.
Yeah, he's a machine.
He's a machine, God. Aaron's setting up some amazing interviews and stuff for this, so check out AvPGalaxy. But it was just an honor to be a part of it, and thanks for having me.
And thanks to Adam for the exciting and crazy weekend we had together. Whenever we're together, we make so much crazy content for Mike's Monsters that I don't think I could do half of it without him. He is one of my best buds, and it has been an unforgettable weekend. Thanks, bud.
Aww.
Good, don't bite daddy's feet too much.
Feister. Feister.
Thanks for watching Mike's Monsters. Have a great day, and Adam's knocking over my shelves. And I hope you have a fantastic time watching Prey. Please, once you've seen it, share your thoughts below. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you loved it, hated it, what you thought of this up here on the Predator. Everything. I'm curious to know because I like to think I'm a hardcore fan. I mean, you just heard me talk about being on AvPGalaxy for 20 years. I like to think I'm a fan. I'm a happy fan right now. So please share your thoughts once you've seen it, and enjoy once you can watch it because it's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah.
Thanks. Have a great day, guys.
Take it easy.
Bye.